Hey friends, I want to first thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I know you're watching a lot of stuff on screens all day, so to have one more video to watch is probably obnoxious. But I'm sure you're going to appreciate it because basically I'm going to talk about this thing called the discriminant, which sounds probably pretty complicated. It's kind of what only a math teacher would use. But by watching this video, you're going to see it's pretty simple. I mean, basically, we've already learned about a quadratic, big math word. Every quadratic has a discriminant. Sounds crazy. But all it really is an expression that we're going to plug numbers into and get a number to pop out. And then later on, like on Tuesday, we'll explain why we care about the discriminant. But if you know how order of operations works, if you know how exponents work, you can completely find a discriminant. It's not hard to do. You've had the skills since you were probably in 7th grade. And they're skills we use all the time in math class. So we're just going to try to not let the word freak us out. When I say find the discriminant, you're going to be like, oh, that's this thing that I've got to do. So first things first, what the heck is a discriminant? It's always related to a quadratic. Every quadratic has a discriminant associated with it. And what we learned earlier in the year was that quadratics in general form are like ax squared plus bx plus c, where anything that's in front of x squared we're going to call a, anything that's in front of x we're going to call b, and any number that's by itself we're calling c. The discriminant is the value of whatever b squared minus 4ac is. This is an expression I do want you guys to get accustomed to seeing. And when you see that expression, b squared minus 4ac, I would love it if you're like, oh yeah, that's associated with a quadratic, and it's called the discriminant. If you don't get that all down, that's okay, but just know that if I'm talking about b squared minus 4ac, that is the discriminant of a quadratic. There's nothing more to it. And we're going to have you answer these 4 quick questions saying find the discriminant, which means you basically need to look at the quadratic, identify the value for a, which is whatever's in front of x squared, identify the value for b, and identify the value for c. So for this quadratic, a equals 3, b equals negative 5, and c equals positive 2. And I'm just going to go ahead and figure out the value of b squared minus 4ac. Now it seems like, okay, that's really easy, Mr. Depsick, but taught this class for a long time, and I'll say a lot of kids do understand they're supposed to plug in numbers, but then they try to use their calculators, and they make, mistakes, even on their calculator. So I'm going to suggest to you guys when you do this, I would definitely recommend that you do use your calculator, but I would recommend you do some of these calculations in your head. Specifically, I recommend that you square the b value in your head. Don't square b on your calculator. A lot of kids, even though we've talked extensively this year about making sure you put your numbers in parentheses before you square them, when it's part of a bigger problem like this is going to be, that habit kind of goes out the window and kids do stuff wrong. All the time. All the time. Right? It's an easy mistake to make, right? So I'm going to suggest that you square b in your head. Negative 5 times negative 5, you could do that, right? You can get a calculator for that. 25 minus 4ac. And then if you want to do this part on the calculator, be my guest. I know that I would. I mean, of course I can do this math mentally, but I can do it faster on a calculator. So I'm just going to bust out the calculator. I got to go to the screen over here to do it. So let's see if I can get this to work. I'm going to figure out the value of 25 minus 4 times 3 times 2. And I'm going to show you how to do that on a calculator. 25 minus 4 times 3 times 2. So it'll be 4 times 3 times 2. Ta-ding! So the answer ends up being just 1. Nice. And that's all there is to this. So if I were to ask you, what is the discriminant of this quadratic? The answer is 1. It's just a number. It's the value of b squared minus 4ac. I'm going to pause the video and do this one. Why don't you pause the video too and see if you can do it without my help, and then we'll talk about how it's going. Whoa! So it doesn't take much. I hope you understand that a is equal 1, because there's nothing in front of x squared, so we assume there's a 1 there. B is equal to 4, and c is equal to negative 3. So when we go and plug that in, we have b squared minus 4 times the a value times the c value. I'm going to square that b in my head, and then on my calculator I'm going to do 16 minus 4 times 1 times negative 3 to get that the discriminant for this quadratic is 28. Now, you might be like, I don't understand what that's for. I don't understand what that means. Those are all good things to be upset about right now. You don't know what it's for, and you don't know what it means. And we will talk about what it's for, and we will talk about what it means. But I first want to make sure you know how to find it. So, hopefully you can see this is not that bad. If you can look at a quadratic and identify the value for A and B and C, and if you can understand that the discriminant is this expression b squared minus 4ac, and if you square b in your head and do the rest in your calculator, I promise it's very hard to get it incorrect. Try to answer these 4 questions. It says it's a quiz and there's 2 points apiece. It's not really graded for accuracy. I just wanted to have you guys have a sense of what was right or wrong. So when you finish this whole thing, you will see what the correct answers are. So everyone who's serious about doing well in this class, do it. And if you get stuff wrong, rather than just, I don't know, like try to figure out why the answer is what I say it's supposed to be versus any other thing you might do if you get something wrong. And again, I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. And I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a great, whatever the rest of the day today is, have a great that day, and then the preceding days that follow, make those excellent as well. Be safe.